Hello and welcome to another episode of Reality Check. What is going on? I am Matt O'Leary. I'm joined by my good co-host and good friend, Jeremy, aka Jets Chaos. Jeremy, 0-5 Jets. How are we doing? How are we feeling?
I'm drained. I'm drained.
I can't imagine
And
why.
I'm drained. You know, the I was hoping for the one bad year, rebuild type year, and then a good year next year. But I think I think what's really draining is the realization of how broken we really are. And it's looking to me like next year's the year we're hoping to win 6 or 7 games. And then maybe in 27, we could start talking about maybe if everything goes well, maybe we could sneak into a wild card spot. It is deflating. It's just deflating when you realize that it's not just this year. There's no playoffs next year if we're being realistic, unless a miracle was to happen.
A lot needs to change and a lot needs to get right with this team. And look, I think both of us before the season started, neither of us had the Jets with a winning record. I had them at 7-10. I forget where you had them.
I was seven. I was hoping for 7 to 8 wins.
Right. Okay. And even that would have been a little on the optimistic side.
Oh yeah.
But I don't think we expected this kind of a start. 0-5, staring 0-6 in the face. I got to tell you, Jeremy, before we hopped on, I was on Instagram and a local bar that I like, they are doing a special thing for this Jets game on Sunday. If the Jets win, they are wiping everyone's tab. So they are willing to eat the money on every single person in the bar's tab if the Jets win. That's the state of the Jets, and that's how confident they are that the Denver Broncos are going to beat the Jets and go to 0-6. What have we come to in this world, Jeremy?
It's even if things were going well for us, it's never a good matchup. London has not been kind to us. Europe has not been kind to us.
No.
Traveling overseas does not work well for us. This team, we lost them when we thought we were going to contend for a Super Bowl, when they had a rookie quarterback who we stopped for the entire game until one of their last drives of the game, and we still couldn't win. And now here we are having to play them while we're 0-5 and they're on the rise. Very hard to see a win here, but also at the same time, I will say, when we eventually get a win, if we eventually get a win, it's probably not, it will probably be a surprise no matter who it's against.
Yeah, that's right. Like even the following games outside Denver, they have Carolina at home and Cincinnati. Both of those teams stink, by the way. But at this point, would it not be a surprise if the Jets won? I don't know how you can go into any game and be like, oh, yeah, this is going to be the week. It's going to come as a surprise when the Jets finally do win a game, because I would be shocked if they go 0-17. I know they look bad, but it's so hard in the NFL to be that bad. They're going to stumble into a couple wins. That's just the way that it goes. And I have a hard time thinking it's going to be this week against a defensive line that is really damn good. The Broncos defense is really impressive. And we just saw this past week against Dallas, the Jets struggled offensively early on in the game against the Cowboys, and they were getting a ton of pressure on the quarterback. What the hell do we think the defense of the Denver Broncos is going to do to this unit?
It's going to be ugly. I mean, but you're right. We're going to win some games. We're going to win some games because we saw against Pittsburgh. We found a way to lose that. We were obviously could have won the game at Tampa, right? I mean, we were leading with 3 seconds to go. What if they had missed that field goal by any freak reason? The Pittsburgh took a 60-yard field goal to beat us. So as bad as we are, as much problems as we have, you're right. Over the course of a 17-game season, it's very hard to lose every one of them. There'll be a few wins. It's just a question of how many. Will it be 1, 2, 3, whatever it is? How many of them are going to be just at the end of the year, frustrating, completely worthless wins that mean nothing. But I think individually each week it's becoming harder and harder to expect them. I would not expect it against a team like Denver. Maybe Carolina, maybe New Orleans, maybe Atlanta are the games where we'll we'll say to ourselves, we have a chance. Miami again at home.
Yep.
Well, like those are the games where we'll say we have a chance to win. We definitely think, it wouldn't be shocking for us to win those games, but Denver doesn't fall into that category. People thought at some point we're saying Dallas, Denver are winnable games because of their record. What are people thinking? Baltimore's not winnable. I don't care if Lamar's playing or not. Too much talent on those teams. We're not beating any of those teams. Or at least if we do, it's a shock. It's a surprise. The only games that aren't a shock is Miami, Carolina, New Orleans, Atlanta. That's not a shock. I'm not saying we're going to win them, but it's not a shock if we do.
No, yeah, and this defense for Denver has played really well. They just upset the Eagles, only allowed 17 points to Philadelphia. The week before that, they played the Bengals, who stink right now, but they won 28-3. In a loss to the Chargers, they allowed just 23 points. Really, the outlier game is Indy, where they lost 29-28. But other than that, you're looking at 12 points against, 23 points against, 3 and 17 points against the Jets offense, Jeremy, which I said it this week, and I'm getting pushback from some, but I want to see where you stand on the Jets offense. It feels like they're garbage time merchants.
Of course. We're not scoring in the first 3 quarters of the game in most of these games.
Yeah, they don't have a first half touchdown since week 1.
Right. So, they're all end of the third, fourth quarter scoring when we're already down. And we all know that, even forget about garbage time. People say, oh, but they're still using their starters. We all know the way the psychology works. When you're up a lot, the intensity does not stay the same. We've seen it a million times. I mean, if you've been watching football for any amount of time, you see this all the time in games, right? A team goes way up, and the team that's losing typically will score some garbage points. Mm-hmm. And sometimes they don't. They're so bad that they don't, or whatever reason, the other team keeps the intensity up. But how often do we see that? And it feels like every single game, that's what our scoring is.
Well, yeah, they were down 30-3 before they started scoring points. They gave up almost 30 unanswered points in the game last week against Dallas. And look, I'm glad that they scored points rather than just roll over and die and lose 37-3, I guess. But some of these numbers for not only the offense, but for Justin Fields too, it looks inflated and looks better than I think it actually is. Is that fair?
Yeah. I think it's very fair. I think it's until they show they get, the one good offensive game was, the Pittsburgh game was real. It felt real.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to the offense since then. I mean, it's been a lot of mistakes too that deflate. Like both Miami and Dallas, the first time we had the ball, we had these beautiful drives that ended with fumble in the red zone. And it just feels like they're not able to recover from it. They're so deflated from that they don't recover.
No, they don't. And one little mistake, it feels like it completely turns the rest of the game, right? The Breece Hall fumble was 10-3 at the time. They're driving, have a chance to, at best, make it 10-10. Maybe you would think worst case scenario, you kick a field goal, it's a 4-point game. Instead, it's a fumble, and they immediately give up 2 touchdowns. And instead of a potential 10-10 game going into the half, it's 23-3 going into halftime.
It's just terrible. The turnovers, the lack of getting turnovers, but forget about forcing turnovers. How about we just need to stop turning the ball over in the worst possible times? Just totally different. To me, and I'm not saying we would have won the games. I'm not claiming we definitely would have. But to me, the impact that these kind of turnovers have on a game, fumbling the ball for another game, a second game in a row, in the first drive, while in the red zone, I cannot understate how big of a deal that is. The momentum, the feeling of here we go again. It's really hard to fight that off probably for the players when these things happen.
No, it absolutely is, which I think it's time to get into our main topics of the day. We have 2. They kind of go hand in hand. There were reports about a potential fire sale for the Jets at the deadline. We'll talk about that. And also kind of just this narrative that the Jets are quitting, and not necessarily, it can be quitting on Glenn, but just quitting in general. We had a comment. DJ Gig says, if the Jets players quit on the coach, then we would be getting blown out like we did in the Adam Gase era. So it seems like he doesn't feel that the Jets have quit on the coach. But where do you stand on the whole this team giving up? They're quitting. Where do you feel?
I don't think they've given up psychologically. I don't think they're saying behind his back, "Screw this, I don't give a shit" or anything like that. I think that they all like from a talking perspective in the locker room, we hear it when they're on the podium. I think they all want to win and turn it around. But I think that we see evidence on the field that there are players quitting during the game, like giving up in the game, frustrated or just whatever. I mean, we're watching it. There are plays where they're jogging after the guy, like, a missed tackle, and then everybody else is just kind of jogging. They're not putting their life into tackling the guy. And, and that could be us being picky, because I don't think that would change anything, but it's hard as a fan to see it, right? These guys are getting paid a lot of money. And I think the one thing, whether we stink or not, or whether losing or not, that we're allowed to ask for, the one thing, if we don't have the talent, if we don't have this, we don't have that, the one thing we're allowed to ask for is to see every player on that field giving 100% effort on every play.
Yeah. And I think, unfortunately, one of the higher paid guys on this defense in Jamie Sherwood, right, just got a big contract this past offseason. Number one, he hasn't played up to where we were expecting him to on this deal. But also, it feels like there's a lack of effort at times, which that makes it worse. Like, it's bad enough that this team isn't good and maybe worse than we originally thought they would be. But adding on top of that, hey, we're just not going to give an effort. We're going to be like half jogging down the field. Like, that 66-yard run before the end of the half, like, that's just embarrassing. All right. Do they not have any pride in this defense, Jeremy?
It's hard to, like I said, they don't look like they're fighting on the field. I'm not saying they've given up on the coach. Maybe that's just who they are as players. On the field, it's not like, because we said in the beginning of the year, even if we lose games, but if we look different, if we're fighting, if we're trying, if we're competing, the defense doesn't. The offense looks like they're fighting the whole game. That's why we're scoring those bullshit points, because they're not giving up. They're fighting, right? The defense does not look like they're fighting. There have been times where we've managed the offense to get those garbage points, make the game a little closer, where we need a 1, 2, 3 and out. We need the defense to come out, and maybe we actually can make the game interesting, and they're not answering the call. Right. And it doesn't seem like it doesn't feel like they're doing that in the first couple of drives of the game, in the first half of the game. So that's what makes it feel more like giving up. It's like, once we fall behind by a couple of touchdowns, then it just gets ugly. Then we see misdirection, guys that are just not trying. They're not focused. Everybody's pursuing the football. And then you see everybody turning around because of, like, to chase somebody running. Like, it looks clownish. Like, it looks like I literally, watching the game with Frankie and Greenbean, was doing the music, the Bad News Bears music, because that's what it looks like to me.
It does. No, it really does. And it's, again, just levels of embarrassment to this. We have a super chat. Wanted to pull it up. Rob comments. Thank you, Rob. Says, Matt, because of your Just Jets video, I went from fire AG to extend AG. The Jets are the problem. May as well let AG figure it out. Or stay until he figures it out. Look, the point that I was making in my videos this week is I don't want to say that Aaron Glenn deserves 0 of the blame. Like, if you're doing a pie chart of the blame, he absolutely has a slice, right? He's not blame free. My question, or the thought that I'm trying to present, is, at what point do we have to say the players aren't as good as we thought they were? They had and specifically with some of their penalty issues. Under Robert Saleh, they were an undisciplined team. They had a ton of penalties. They changed the coach. In comes Jeff Ulbrich, right, for the rest of last season. They still had a penalty problem. Then they changed the coach again, and Aaron Glenn comes in, and they still have a penalty problem. So if we pull the plug on Aaron Glenn right now, not saying that, these are what people are calling for, but let's play the game. They pull the plug right now. Are they magically, with their fourth coach, just going to be, we're not going to have 10 plus penalties a game? I don't see it that way. I think it would still be an issue for this team.
I think they have to look and decide, who they want. Like, at the end of the year, they have to, I don't care if it's 6 guys, 7 guys, who are the guys you want to keep? Who are the guys you want to be around? It's a rebuild. And then you have to build around those guys. Now, it could be a little faster than a normal rebuild, because I do think there's some talent here. I don't think it's 2020. But the reality is, we probably are going to be drafting a quarterback. I think most people would agree we're going to need to. Some still might think, oh, no, you could just go on with Fields. But the reality is we're probably going to end up drafting a quarterback. What that means is they're going to be, even if that quarterback hits, you're still going to have to deal with their rookie year.
Yep.
Right? So it's a rebuild, and like it doesn't, you're going to fire Aaron Glenn 5 games in, you want to fire him, you want to fire him. I mean, it's a terrible roster, and we're going to rebuild it. And I don't see what the point of firing the coach is completely. I mean, I understand why we're angry at him. There's things that he's doing that's baffling and perplexing. But if you think about it in reality, as we're in a rebuild, maybe the coach right now is not the first thing we should be worrying about. Maybe we should be hoping this team finds a way to acquire more draft picks, and we're able to start putting more talent on this team. If they fire him, I'm not going to complain. But I'm not screaming as the number one thing that's what we need to do, because I just don't see any talent on this team. I don't know if there are many other coaches that would have came in here and done. Maybe they would have done better, but I don't know that it's not like we'd be 3-2 sitting here hoping for the playoffs.
Yeah, maybe, and I get it. Like I wanted Mike Vrabel to be this coach too, right? And he ends up going to New England, and they have a big upset win over the Buffalo Bills, and they're playing pretty good football right now, and they have a young, exciting quarterback. But if the Jets did fire Aaron Glenn right now, who are they getting to come here? Right. And that's part one. And then part two of that is Woody Johnson going to want to pay Aaron Glenn for 4 years not to coach this team? He got a 5-year contract.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and there are people that are still like in denial. We got a guy in the chat, Joseph, who's ridiculously thinking this team has talent. Like, this team doesn't have talent. It has talent. We have a good offensive line, a good running game. We have some things. This team is terrible in defense. We have no talent in defense. We are lacking linebacker. The linebacker play has not been good. That we don't have safeties. The safeties are invisible. The secondary has been on and off, hot and cold. There's no pass rush. We have, JJ's been out, so that's part of it. Will McDonald's is limited in snaps because he's obviously not sealing the edge well, and they're not trusting him to be an edge rusher. We have no depth on the defensive line at edge, so we're putting no pressure on the quarterback. I mean, how are you saying this team has talent? How are you expecting more out of this team? This team, like, this is the naiveness of some fans. You're naive because you're thinking, because they're your guys, you want to believe they're good, and you're not able to understand they're not as good as you thought they were. They're not good. Tony Adams is not even rosterable. He is not a starting safety, yet he's out there. Cisco's been terrible. Moore is a rookie. So we've seen good, we've seen bad. We have no safeties. This is the worst safety room maybe in the history of this organization. I have never seen it so bad. It is so bad. They're so bad. So there's such a talent issue. Yes, like every bad team, even terrible teams, have some talent. The Carolina Panthers have talent. The New Orleans Saints, if you look at their roster, have talent. Yes, of course, everyone has some talent. I'm saying find out who that core is. Find out where the talent is and build around it. But a roster, you need a lot more than just a few talented guys. You are as strong as your weakest link. And we don't have just weak links. We have weak rooms. The entire room is weak. That is a problem. We have a talent issue.
Well, with Jermaine Johnson out right now, they have one playable edge rusher. Michael Clemens isn't a rosterable player. Tyler Barron shouldn't be on an NFL team. He's getting snaps.
Ridiculous.
And part of it's their own fault too, because we were talking about this all offseason too as potential issues for this team.
Yeah, we knew that we had a problem with depth on the defensive line when they kept Barron on that roster. Did you see him in preseason? He was getting owned by third, fourth stringers in preseason games.
Yep. He
was getting pushed around. So at least I thought he was a developmental project. Like, we're seeing him in games. Like, when you have, forget about the good players that we have. When you could name guys that shouldn't be playing, that are starting and out there on the field, you can't, obviously you're not going to win that way. I don't care if you have some really good players. Teams will expose you if you don't have safeties that can play football and you can't pressure the quarterback. you're dead. You're dead in the water. The other quarterback is able to sit in the pocket and have time and feel comfortable, and you don't have safeties to back up the cornerbacks. And the cornerbacks have been inconsistent, right? They haven't been and they haven't been one thing. Like Sauce hasn't been terrible every game, and Stevens hasn't been terrible every game, right? But they've had their turns where they've been suspect. Their play has not been great.
They both haven't been good at the same time.
Right. When you combine that with no pressure from the defensive line, and yes, one thing affects the other, by the way, there is a correlation. Yes, defensive backs are struggling because of the lack of pressure of the defensive line, but the defensive line is struggling because of the lack of ability of our secondary. Like, so it's a cause and causation correlation type thing. There's a lack of talent on this team. Like, we're missing something, and that's why we're losing games. It's obvious. The coaches are not doing something so obscene that it's forcing us to lose games. There's enough blame to go around. Balance it out. We're just a terrible football team from every, from everywhere. But in 5 games to say that for a fact that the problem is Aaron Glenn and he has to be fired. I'm not saying he's not going to end up fired someday. I'm not saying he might be the great coach. I'm not saying that. I'm just simply saying to sit there and just think that just getting rid of him is going to fix this team is incredibly naive.
It is. There's many it's not just Aaron Glenn and his staff. There's a lot of issues here. Nose Kills chimes in with the super chat. We got a few more to get through. Says the Jets funk swallows anyone not at the level of Garrett Wilson, Quinnen, Devontae, maybe Sauce and Brees. How the F do we get a roster full of that? Hashtag hopeless. Are you hopeless, or is it we got to buy in that eventually like Glenn and Muji are going to start to get some of their guys in here and that'll turn the tide? Like, how do you spin this or sell this to the Jet fans right now?
I think it's really hard to ask us to be patient because we've been losing for 15 years. And we thought we had a good roster a couple of years ago. And we believed this roster was good even a year and just underperformed. Coaching, we blamed everything else. And I think the hardest part is for us as a fan base, is to accept the fact that we overrated these players. They're not as good as we thought they were. They're not. And that's a problem. Like, we have to understand, even our stars are not as great as stars as other teams' stars. Like, even that, it's just, we love JJ, but he's not freaking Myles Garrett. He's not like, we don't have a Max Crosby, a Myles Garrett. We don't have anybody on our defense that is a consistent disruptor play after play. Watch a Raiders game. Max Crosby is all over the place, every play, every drive, impacting everything. We don't have a guy that comes close to that. So we have to accept, even like we talk about Quinnen Williams, how, he's great, our defensive tackle, you name is one of our best defenders. Do you see him disrupting on every play, every drive, making a statement? Watch a Raiders game. Watch that guy. He's a lunatic. He's disrupting on almost every play. It's crazy. So there's, even in your stars, there's level of how much of a star you are. So we've got to accept that. And it sucks. And none of us want to be patient. I don't want to be patient. We've been losing for 15, 16 years. This sucks. But the reality is the reality. And the reality is he's probably not getting fired. The reality is that they're rebuilding and that you're going to give him his 2 years to see what they're going to give him the next offseason to see what they do to this roster, to see if they can get some more talent in, show some improvement. It sucks. I'm just saying, I'm just being a realist. I just don't think they're going to fire him. So, do you really want to start now, week 6, of fire him when the reality is he's probably going to be here at least through next season?
Unless he goes 0-17, I think he's coming back next year. Like, that's the one lone scenario. If they go winless, maybe Woody Johnson's just so embarrassed he bites the bullet. But if they're 3-14, 4-13, whatever it is, they're gonna get another shot, and that obviously the pressure is going to be on them in year 2. But I'm just saying, be careful with this idea that if they fire Aaron Glenn, everything is going to be fine and be fixed in 2026, because it's not only the coaches. And again, I want to make it clear, like, I don't think you are, and I'm certainly not saying the coaches are blame free. I just think it's got to be closer to an equal pie split, right? With like front office gets a slice, coaching gets a slice,
Right.
players.
I have so many concerns about this coaching staff, about Aaron Glenn. So many concerns. Like, I'm not defending and saying, oh, no, he's a great coach. Give him a chance. It's not his fault. No, he's made terrible mistakes that I'm super concerned about. The fact that Tony Adams was a project for 3 years who hasn't panned out, who's still stuck around.
And sorry.
Like, Michael Clemens, I understand the argument that when I hear Michael Clemens and people go off on him, I agree. He's frustrating. But then again, at the same time, we put ourselves in a situation where what were the options? I mean, we could have went and got Clowney, but does that have anything to do with the future of this team?
No.
Like, was Clowney going to move the needle for us and make us a Super Bowl team or a playoff team? So, I mean, the reality is we had too many needs to fix in one offseason. My concern is, okay, I get that. We couldn't fix them all, but did we fix any of them?
It doesn't feel that way, Jeremy. I don't think
it doesn't feel like we fixed anything.
No,
maybe tight ends. Maybe we fixed tight end. Mason Taylor.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Last couple of games, Mason Taylor has looked great. Right. Membu, we fixed right tackle. We fixed right tackle. So that's fine. That's good.
Maybe right guard, Joe Tippmann.
Yeah. I mean, that's fine. If we could just focus on getting a center, and then the internal inside line, like the defensive tackles, like getting Briggs and Phillips, great moves.
Good depth.
Like, there's some positive here. There are some positives, but man, they left a lot to be desired. Right? They left a wide receiver room that's, behind Garrett Wilson, that's empty.
It's awful.
It's awful. And they left the safeties, even the starters. So you have nothing in that room. Right? Malachi Moore is a project, fine, but you don't want a rookie that was drafted in the 5th round to be your starting safety. He's a project. He's got to develop. So I mean, we've got problems.
They do have problems. Mickey chimes in, says Glenn and Muji came in with no plan. You can't decide now. It's a rebuild. The choice has to be made before the season. They wasted the whole season. Do you think that they've wasted this year? Outside of they paid Garrett and Sauce big money, and they also signed Brandon Stevens and Jamie Sherwood to decent money. Garrett has been the best return on the investment so far, but they brought in a stopgap quarterback. And I always thought this would be an evaluation year. I just thought that the talent would carry them to closer to 7 wins than it would to 2 wins. And I think I was wrong. I think it's pretty safe to say that I was wrong with that assumption. Yeah,
look, I agree. It is weird that they're deciding now it's a rebuild. Did they know the whole time and they were full of crap and full of hot air? It is weird that now he's saying it like, oh, we're building from the ground up. And it's like, it didn't sound like that in preseason. It didn't sound like that's what he was saying, right? You were saying that you were playing to win. And I get that all coaches are playing to win, but it wasn't just that you said you were playing to win. I agree. He was also talking like there was talent, like in that he was expecting to win games, that not just saying we're playing to win, but expecting to win games. And now all of a sudden it feels like he's pulling back on that and saying it's a rebuild. It's a rebuild. He obviously can. You're saying he can't decide now it's a rebuild. Well, that's not true. He obviously can. You're saying that, Mickey, you're saying, and I don't blame you, that you're not too happy about that.
I don't know what
I mean. Like, he could say whatever he wants. He could say it's a rebuild. And I understand that you're not accepting that as acceptable, but unfortunately he can decide that. And he can say that. It's just that we don't have to be happy about that. Like, we could be pissed off about that.
Yeah. And we are. I think we are. We're frustrated.
We are pissed off and we are frustrated.
Oh, I'm excited for your reaction to this one.
Yeah.
Atlanta Jets fan. If AG is one and done, do you consider Belichick? He's looked good at North Carolina, Jeremy. You got to bring him back.
It's a recipe for disaster. Even if you would. It doesn't work. We brought in Aaron Rodgers and it didn't work. I don't care what the position coach different. No. It doesn't work. We're chasing. If you get someone in their prime, if you get someone early on, the coach, the New England Patriots got the coach, right? That was the coach, right? It was the guy who was still young, right? who still had a lot of years left in his career, who wasn't past his prime, who didn't already accomplish everything he was meant to accomplish. That was the guy we all want. Most of us wanted him, Vrabel, right? We wanted him. We couldn't get him. He had no interest in yeah, he didn't have the interest. Once New England wanted him, there was no question he was going there. I don't know if it was the right answer. I think the future, it might be proven wrong or right. I wanted Flores because, yes, he was still defensive-minded coach. I know people didn't want that, although I don't think that's the problem with this team. I think this team proves that you can find a good offensive coordinator, and it doesn't matter that you have a defensive coach. But I didn't want a rookie head coach. I thought Flores did enough in Miami to be a better option in that he was a guy who proved he can even win, right? So that was what I wanted personally. I might be proven wrong. He might never be a coach. He might get another opportunity, and Flores might suck. And then I'll be proven wrong, and that's fine. I'm not proclaiming to be an expert. I'm picking coaches. I'm just saying it. If you go back and watch my film, my content, I wanted Flores. We didn't get him. I jumped on board. I'm trying to be a good fan, and I'm supporting Aaron Glenn, and I'm rooting for him to succeed until he's gone. And if he's gone, then he's gone. As long as he's our coach, I'm going to hope that he turns it around somehow, because that's what a fan of a team does. Because me screaming to fire him, I don't believe that works. I don't believe someone's going to listen to me. I don't believe there's any purpose of it. I mean, I can get mad at him, pissed off, think he's going to get fired, but I don't feel like an obligation to call for his firing. I feel like I just have to hope, as long as he's the guy that's the head coach, he's the guy I'm rooting for to somehow be good. That we're wrong about all this. He has a plan. It's all going to unfold. And in 3 years, he's a hero in New York. That's what I'm hoping for. Do I believe it's going to happen? I wouldn't bet my mortgage on it.
No, I wouldn't either, unfortunately. Bill Belichick, after Tom Brady left, went 7-9, 10-7, 8-9, and 4-13 in the 4 years with New England after Tom Brady left. He went then to North Carolina because no one in the NFL wanted to hire him. They are 2-3. And the biggest story is his girlfriend on the sideline. And I just, it's over, man. He had an incredible NFL career. Will go down as one of, if not the best coach in the NFL. He's 74. It's over.
Yeah, it's over. He's on the sideline with his girlfriend during the games. The North Carolina fans are losing their mind over that. Like, he's walking over to her and interacting with her. Like, what is going on here?
It's bizarre.
He's done coaching. He took that job to get his sons in. Like, he was hoping he could turn it around a little, retire, and leave his sons with jobs, and running a program and having a career. That's what I think that is. It's all, it's all about nepotism.
Oh, don't you love it? Nepotism in sports, the absolute best. We'll get back into your comments, but want to mention we're brought to you by Sleeper. Think you know football, then try to turn your football knowledge into real money with the Sleeper app. The ultimate fantasy sports app that can turn game day into payday. Just download and pick more or less on your favorite players with more stats than any other daily fantasy app. Just choose 2 or more of your favorite players. You can do a pregame or live, pick more or less from the predicted stats, and you could win up to 1,000 times your money if your picks win. Use promo code O'Leary, and you'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. A new offer, there is a free $20 no deposit required promo that they're running right now. Also, terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for detail. All right.
O'Leary is the code.
O'Leary. Oleary.
O'Leary is the code to use, everybody. O'Leary. Not anybody else that you might know. O'Leary.
Plug that O'Leary code. You gotta love it.
We're not vegetarians. We don't want to put a vegetable in there as the code. We want to put O'Leary.
Amen, brother. Yeah. Amen. All right. I wanted to get to the fire sale thought with the New York Jets. There was a Ralph Fasciano quote from earlier in the week. Some anonymous NFL executive said that they need to, paraphrasing the quote, but essentially they need to get some of their own guys in there with Aaron Glenn and Darren Muji, and that the Jets would be open to trading just about anybody. There's really only one guy that I think makes sense for them to trade right now, and I don't even really love it, but I think Breece Hall is their only real tradable asset here. Where do you stand with One, I guess, getting to the point where they should or shouldn't trade Brees Hall, and then anybody else on this roster.
Well, I mean, I've said it. I'm very vocal on X. If we were offered a first round pick, I'm not saying we would be. I'm not proclaiming to be great at trade value, but if somebody offers the number one pick for Quinn and Williams all day long, yes. And here's why: he's gonna want an extension. We're gonna have to pay him. By the time this team is competitive, if we're being honest, I don't care who you bring in here. We're not competitive until 2027 at the best, if everything goes great. And I think to be competitive in 2027, we need to acquire more picks, right? What age? How old is Quinn Williams going to be in 2027?
I think 29.
Right, 29, 30, right when we're ready to compete. You see a size, that type of player, usually there's a lot of, I mean, I don't know that there will be, but there's risk of decline. He was going to want an extension way before that. It might end up in a holdout. Who knows? He's going to want his $30 million. Are you wanting to pay, as with this young up-and-coming team, if everything goes well, are you wanting to pay $30 million for a guy who's 29, 30, getting up there, stuck in a contract for another couple of years? I don't give him away for free. Believe me, I know it would be terrible in the sense of I don't want to trade him. I love the player. But if somebody offers us number one, a first pick, I don't know if you could turn that down. Like, I don't know if you can turn that down. I know people are saying, I see right away that, defensive tackles don't deteriorate. He's not a run-stopping defensive tackle. He's a pass rush, explosive defensive tackle. I don't know. He might be amazing at 31. He might be. But he might not be. I don't know. But what I do know is he's going to cost over $30 million a year. And I just think with all the problems we have, maybe there's other areas, like maybe that $30 million could go to fixing another problem. I don't know. I like the player. I'm not sitting there saying we should be picking up the phone and looking to trade him. But if somebody was to knock on our door and offer us a number one for Quinn and Williams, I don't know. I mean, do a poll. How many people would take? I don't think I'm alone saying that if somebody offered us a number one, we need to at least consider that very strongly for Quinn and Williams.
Yeah, I will create a poll while we're talking about it right now. I think like you said, I think you have to be open to it. I would be a little apprehensive to trade Quinn and Williams because I just don't.
That would really be bad.
Right. That's what I mean. Like, he's their best run defender. Yeah. He's by far their best interior player. I think he could be good until his early 30s. I buy it. I think we've seen guys at that position age well. Hang on, I'm typing this out right now. I can't multitask. My brain doesn't work that well. Quinn and Williams trade for a first. Yes, no. I'll send the poll. I'll see what the votes end up looking like. Something you mentioned that I think is really interesting that may impact his value, which is why I didn't have him on my initial list and really only said Brees Hall. I think he's going to need a new contract after this year. I think he's going to want to redo the contract, and I wonder if that will prohibit teams from offering a first-round pick for Quinn and Williams, because I don't want to sell low. I don't want to go, teams are only offering a second. I guess we got to take it for Quinn and Williams, because I don't think that really does nearly enough.
That's why I think that you have to jump, because it'd be more than I would expect a team to offer. I would be surprised if a team offered a first pick, a number one for him, because it's always surprising to me to say we're going to offer you a number one pick and we're going to have to pay the guy. Like, that's double paying. You're paying a number one pick and you're paying the money. You'd think that you would just wait for free agency and get a guy that way, right? And so, but I mean, I see somebody said 2 number ones, and that's fine. If that's your price, 2 number ones. I mean, yeah. I mean, well, I think that everybody has to agree, right? If somebody offers you 2 number ones, you have to take that. I mean, please. I mean, like we got to live in a sane world here. But I'm not looking to trade Quinn and Williams. Like, if somebody said we'll give you a second pick in 26 and a second rounder and a third rounder in 27, no way I'm doing that. No, because we have to have a team. We have to be able to put a team on the field in the meantime, right?
And it's hard too, because he's still a top 5 player at his position. And I personally think he could do that for the next 4 or 5 years, which would still be valuable to this team, in my opinion. And I think he's one of the few defensive players this year that I think has remained pretty consistent throughout the year. So that's the only reason why I struggle with it. again, if the right package comes across, he's not an automatic no. I think really the only automatic no of the veterans is Garrett Wilson. I think you keep Garrett and build around him, but anyone not on their rookie contract and that's a vet, I think you at least listen on.
Yeah. No, I think you have to listen. You definitely have to listen. Look, I mean, you have to consider the age of the player, the cost of the player. You know, you have to consider all those things. I mean, I honestly, emotionally, I don't want to trade Quentin Williams. Like, I want it to work out that they find a way, but I also don't want to pay him 30 plus million a year because and I'm not saying he's not good. I'm not saying he's not a great football player. I don't know. I mean, when 30 million doesn't even sound much now that I think about it. When you imagine how much Parsons is getting, right?
That's
30
true.
million feels like I guess it feels like a bargain for Quinnen. I mean, why am I saying 30 million? That shouldn't even be a complaint because 30 million compared to 47 million.
Yeah, it's a huge. What's he at now? Like 23 roughly AAV. He got 4 for 96. Not a math guy. Give me a second.
He's like 23, 24.
Yeah, 24 million, which that I think was fair at the time, and he's just running out of guaranteed money on it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess 30 million is reasonable when you look at the price. I mean, he might not even take 30 million. He might be asking for 38. I mean, Parsons just pushed up the price. Let's be honest.
Yeah, different positions though. Edge and interior defensive lineman.
Very true.
Who's the highest in defensive tackle contracts? Who's the highest paid interior?
You got to look at the guy from Kansas City, right?
Chris Jones is 31.75 per year.
He's not as good as Christian. He's not as good as Jones.
No, but he's better than like Milton Williams just got 26 million. Derek Brown got 24 million.
Yeah, he's about 30 million then.
He's probably going to be high 20s. I would say floor 28 million to 30 million is probably going to be what it ends up being on another contract.
Man, we were locked into Garrett and Sauce already. Like, you got to be careful about who you lock into. I'm not against it. I'm just saying, I'm just stating a fact. Like, you got to be careful because every time you lock into one of these big contracts, it's later on going to be one less that you can get somewhere else, right? It's like using up resource. The cap is going up though, so a $30 million contract in 3 or 4 years from now, or 3 years from now, might feel different than it feels today, right? Because it already feels like a lot less than it would have 4 or 5 years ago,
right? And the cap, is going up year over year, and they get new TV deals, which raises the cap too. So these numbers change pretty quickly.
Right. So some of these contracts actually become friendly over time.
I want to ask you about Breece Hall because I think he's the most likely guy that they would trade, and in a way, it would kill me because I really am worried about what the Jets' offense would look like without Breece Hall and without Braylon Allen. And it would essentially be Isaiah Davis and Khalil Herbert, who they just picked up off the street. I understand it in the sense if the Jets decide we're not going to pay Breece Hall, we're not going to re-sign him, he's not going to be here, we can get something for him now. I just don't think it's going to be anything close in trade value to what I'm seeing in the chat. Like, I've seen people say 3rd round pick for Breece Hall. I don't think you're getting a 3rd round pick. I think it's going to be a 4th round pick for Breece Hall, maybe.
Unless the team is desperate. Unless, there are some teams out there where the running back got hurt. They're a contender on their team. Like, I think on the Chargers, that Breece Hall will be very good.
And that's the other thing too. He's going to go to a really good offense and put up massive numbers, and it's going to suck. I could see that happening.
I know. I mean, look, I think that was my concern all year. Like, when they would trade Breece, it was always about, well, what is anybody going to give for him? And then how expensive is he to re-sign at the end of the year? He's a running back. Running backs, he's a running back who's not putting up giant astronomical numbers. Is anyone else going to come and pay this guy over $10 million? I mean, it's not like the same thing as Quinnen. It's not a position that costs $30 million. Like, maybe that could be one less problem we have. Maybe you just sign him at the end of the year, you extend him, and then we have a running back, and that box is checked.
Does 3 for 30 get it done for Breece Hall, do you think?
I think so. I don't know. I mean, who's going to pay him more than that? Why would you pay him more than that? Like, what has he done to warrant more than that?
He's pacing out. It depends on what he does the rest of the year, but he's pacing for about 1,200 rushing yards and another 500 receiving. So that'd be 1,700 all-purpose yards.
Right, but it's a running back. Saquon Barkley was, he was much better numbers and he had a huge year, and he came out what 13 million, 14
yeah, he's up to 20.6 now, the highest in the league. But if you look at like James Cook just got paid at 11.5, I think James Cook has shown more in this league than Brees. Maybe it's like, I don't know, Joe Mixon got 9.875, but that was a couple years ago. So
yeah, but all these numbers we're talking about is affordable to have one less hole on this team.
Yeah, I like that
so
point.
many holes. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say I like that point because again, I like Brees Hall. Dumping him for a fourth round pick, I don't know how worth it would be, especially to see him go out there and perform at a high level for another team. I think it'd be frustrating. But you mentioned like the number of holes that you have. Do you want to allocate $10 million to a running back, or would you rather take that $10 million and put it elsewhere? That's the decision.
I don't know. Somebody in the chat said they did it for Stevens.
Yeah, I mean, this is true. Stevens got $11 million.
They paid Cisco $8 million or so, right? And he's terrible. Like terrible.
True.
There are some terrible football players that make $8 to $9 million. Terrible football players. And we're talking about is Brees worth 10 or 11? I'm not going to be crazy angry. You see, I'm not being passionate on one side or the other, but I'm questioning whether for a fourth round pick, does it make sense? I mean, if it's a different conversation if somebody came along and offered a third, right? Then it's a different conversation because third round, day 2 pick for, third round, it's a different kind of pick. It's a different level of pick.
That's a very different conversation, but I don't think we're going to ever get to that spot in that conversation,
especially when you could literally use that third round pick on a running back. And nowadays you get a top 5 running back out of college with a third round pick.
Third rounder. It would be in a way though, and I feel like I'm talking myself in circles. It's more so I could see the Jets trading Brees than I personally want to trade Brees Hall. That's just kind of where I am. But if you're assuming the Jets are going to have a high pick in this draft and take a rookie quarterback, having a running back room of Brees Hall, Braylon Allen, and Isaiah Davis with a strong offensive line with Garrett Wilson and hopefully a wide receiver 2 in here next year and a Mason Taylor who's becoming a nice safety blanket, suddenly it's a pretty nice landing spot for a quarterback.
It's hard to give up. It sucks to always talk about giving up a strength. Like right now, the one good thing you can see about the Jets, the one good thing is I think we're like top 5 running. Right, like it's the one good thing. The offensive line, run blocking, the running back, or whatever it is, like it's the one good thing about the team, right? So it's like, so if you're going to part with the RB1, when it's the one good thing you got going for your team, and he's what, 25, 26?
Brees, I don't think he's even turned 25 yet. He turns,
right. I mean,
25 in May. He's 24.
I mean, it's like you're gonna, it got to be something, man. I don't know why everybody's looking to trade this guy. I mean, it's the one thing we have on this team, the one thing that we do well. Of all the things, we run the ball well, and we're saying let's trade the running back. Like, so I don't know. I mean, I guess if somebody offered a second round pick, I don't think it's going to happen. I guess at some point you have to do it or consider it at some point. But I don't know why we're all running to do it. Let's trade the one thing we got. How about we trade Membo? Maybe we can get a lot for him. I mean, like, at what point, like, do we get to hold on to anything that's good?
I think this might be my favorite comment from the show. Buffalo Jet fan chimes in, says the Jets most likely spend that $10 million on someone worse than Hall. Brees has somehow gone from overrated to underrated. This offense without him would make my eyes bleed.
Yeah, I guess that about sums it up.
Right?
I mean, it's like the one good thing we have.
Yeah, they're the third best rushing team in the NFL.
I mean, we were at that game against Pittsburgh. We saw live what he could do. I think we're underrating him. Like, because we watched what he could do in the right circumstance. He was doing great in that freaking game until the fumble.
He averaged over 8 yards a carry. If he didn't have that stupid fumble, he had 14 carries for 113 yards.
I mean, what are we talking about here? Why are we looking to get rid of this kid? He's 24. I didn't realize that. He's still young. What are we talking about?
He's averaging 5.3 yards per attempt this year. He's pacing out for about 1,200 rushing yards and another 500 receiving yards. So 1,700 yard all-purpose player. I get it. Some of the post-game comments, a little tough sometimes. Attitude on the sideline, maybe could look a little rough at times. The fumbles.
And by the way, who are we going to find? Everybody's so confident. Like, it's like, oh, you could trade him, and even I will hold myself guilty on that. Look how many failures we've had at running back. Michael Carter didn't work, right? Like Bam Johnson didn't work, although Bam Johnson played the other day. But I'm saying is everybody was talking about Braylon Allen being so good. He hasn't looked good this year, right? Like we're so high on these guys that we don't see play. It's like backup quarterbacks. We think they're so good. None of them are anything close to Breece Hall. No one on this roster at running back, no running back that we've had in the last few years has done anything that Breece Hall has. So we do need to stop acting like it's nothing, like he's nothing, like we don't need him. Like he's so easy to replace. He's not easy to replace. And he's only 24, so he can be part of the future. So we need to it's okay to say if somebody makes us a great offer for him, but we shouldn't be looking to just throw this guy away.
Maybe they could bring Bam Knight back.
He was playing. He played the other day with I think Michael Carter. Bam Knight and Michael Carter are playing.
They both had touchdowns. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
It's ridiculous. Oh God. Yo Home says pacing out. Sure, we will see. Breece won't last the full season. He never does. The golden child Braylon Allen got hurt too. And everyone wants to trade Breece Hall so that Braylon Allen could be the running back one. He got hurt. And he also fumbled in the red zone.
I mean, look, I think that we've had enough time since the knee that he's been playing and he hasn't had an issue with the knee. As far as concussions, other type of injuries, it can happen to any player on any play. So I don't, it's hard to use injuries or injury proneness as an excuse for what we're going to decide to do. It's just difficult because, we said, oh, this player, we've named players that don't typically get hurt, and what happens? They get hurt. So there's just no rule on that. Anything can happen to any player on any play.
I mean, he missed one game. He played in every game in 23, missed one game last year, has played in every game so far this year.
Yeah. I don't know how we could live with the assumption of injury. It's like he might get injured. He might not. But that's every player in the NFL.
Yeah. Oh, this team, Jeremy, it's going to give me an aneurysm. It really is.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, this was a very awakening hour for me, though. I'd like to thank the chat. I'd like to thank Buffalo Jets fan because
that was a great comment.
It was a great comment because it's like, it's the one thing we're good at. Everybody is running. Everybody's complaining, so upset that we're so bad, and then running to give away the only strength of the team.
And we just talked about at the beginning of the show was how bad the roster is too. So, I don't know. They need a win.
If he's not 25 yet, he could be around for this rebuild. Even if we rebuild over the next season and then 27, hopefully we're better. He could be around through all of that.
Yeah, and again, if you sign him for a 3-year extension, then you have him for age 25, 26, 27. And usually around 27 is when it starts to go for running back. So at that point, maybe you go a different direction. But Braylon Allen or Isaiah Davis hasn't shown me enough through the 2 years yet to make me believe that either of them are ready to be an RB1.
Yeah. And if it's true that Breece wants out, then of course you trade him.
Well,
that's different. That's different.
But how do we know that?
I'm saying if you knew it was true, if he said it, if Breece Hall said, I'm out, I want out, then you trade him because he's going to be a free agent, and you don't want to hold a guy who doesn't want to be here.
That's totally that is again totally different. But has he come out and said, I don't want to be here, trade me?
No,
I haven't heard that.
No one's saying that. No, so far everything that we're saying as far as quitting, when we talk about quit, has been on the field in front of our eyes. The defense, we've seen quit. We have not seen it in the offense. We've seen it on the defense, and we've seen it on the field. No one on the podium has suggested or said anything that sounds like quit. No agent has come forward and said anything that sounds like quit or trade me. Nothing. There's been nothing like that.
We got Jets Rebellion says, look how he talks. I think he's just tired of losing. I think so many guys are just so done with all the losing. It's all they've done for the 4 years he's been here. They've been horrible.
Remember, everybody said Garrett's gone, doesn't want to be here.
Oh yeah, and then signs a contract extension.
When they signs a contract that keeps them here for 6 years. So what? Maybe we shouldn't jump to conclusions.
I don't know if they're giving him $10 million a year. That might be enough to stay.
Do you want him to talk like he's happy? Of course. I mean, like, I kind of want the players to be unhappy, like in the sense that they're saying, this is unacceptable. I don't want them to be not tired of losing, right? We'd be pissed if they're joking around. Hey, it's okay. We'd be saying, oh, I hate them. They just want their paycheck. They don't care. Like, we want them to care and be pissed and bummed that they're losing, right? Aren't we supposed to want that?
You would think.
Yeah.
You would think. Well, we've reached the end of the hour. That felt good. It kind of felt like a therapy session, Jeremy. I feel like I got a lot out. I feel better than I did before the start of the episode. That's not that much.
That's what I do, man. That's what I do. Come to me anytime.
I love it. We'll be back every Wednesday, 3:00. We're hanging out, talking Jets for an hour. Who knows? Maybe it'll be after Jets win, and maybe I'll have to take that bar. Shout out Lily's in Babylon. I'm going to take him to the woodshed if the Jets somehow beat the Broncos on Sunday.
Yeah.
All right. I'm Matt. He's Jeremy. Thanks for tuning in. Leave a like before you go. Subscribe if you're new, and we'll catch you next time.